They did it again. They did it again, man. Salute to NBA Nation on this Friday morning. Just when you thought the OKC Thunder were going on to their first NBA Finals victory, Nembhard, Nesmith, Turner, and then Tyrese Haliburton had something to say about it as the Pacers, the comeback kids of the NBA playoffs, do it again with Haliburton's heroics, winning the game 111-110, stunning the OKC Thunder, the NBA world, and maybe all except the Pacer fans, because, hey, they've been trying to tell us, man. So let's talk about it. Call in on the NBA Report Discord, TP the Franchise, Dexter Henry of New York Post Sports, New York Got Game, and many other media properties, man. Let's get into it. Wild game last night. Wow. All right, let's talk about it, man.
Insane, man. Just an insane game.
Insane, man. 15-point lead. It was like, I feel like this playoffs, there's been so many games where it's like, if you box score watch and then you see the result, you're like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
I mean, they come out the gates, ferocious defense. They're like, this is OKC. You know what I mean? Go to 19 first half points for the turnovers for the Pacers. 19 first half turnovers. 15-point lead with 9 minutes to go for a home dominant team and the favorites here, and they come out and lose. Can't make it up, bro.
You can't make it up. I mean, for me, the key was CP is the turnovers, right? And it's not the turnovers, but it's what OKC was unable to do off the turnovers. They had 25 turnovers in the game total. Indiana did. OKC got 11 points, just 11 points off those turnovers. That was a killer because when Indiana cleaned it up in the second half, they only had 6 turnovers, as you mentioned, in 19 in the first half. The OKC just wasn't able to do anything about it. I'll say this again. I've said it many times. It happened in game 1 against the Knicks in the conference finals. It takes a lot of things to go right one way and a lot of things to go wrong the other way to blow one of these leads. And OKC, look, they didn't make shots. They didn't execute down the stretch. They had some bad turnovers themselves. The Pacers were able to capitalize off of that. Andrew Nembhard was tremendous. I know Haliburton's going to get a lot of the credit for the game winner, but Andrew Nembhard, man, he was big. 8 of his 14 points in the fourth quarter. He had that crazy step back 3 off the dribble over SGA. You gotta give the Pacers credit, man. They are never shook. They are never shook. Not one bit, 1 minute. And look, I was talking with a friend last night, and he was like, oh, man, I didn't like and I'm sure we'll get into this. He didn't like the lineup change by Mark Daigneault. I don't think that hurt them as much in the end as people may make it out to be. They got out to good starts in both halves with the smaller lineup with Case and Wallace. Now, I know the numbers don't look good. I think Case and Wallace was a -13, while Isaiah Hartenstein was positive, and I think it was a +4 in his minutes. So I know that doesn't look good, but listen, OKC had chances to win this game. They just didn't execute. It's simple as that, and the Pacers did.
Unreal, man. We got to talk about Tyrese Haliburton, man. Most go-ahead or game-time field goals in the final 5 seconds of the fourth quarter overtime since the 1997 playoffs. LeBron James, 8. Reggie Miller, 5. And Tyrese Haliburton, 5, man. I mean, he's right up there. He's the new generation's Reggie in the point guard mold, but he's right up there with Reggie and LeBron James, bro. I mean, for a guy who you would think, again, had a off night up until the final 1 second. But, hey, when you need him to be the clutch, he delivers. We talk about Jalen Brunson a lot, but Tyrese Haliburton was, again, stone cold. Stone cold. No, got the job done there, bro.
He's like the new Chauncey Billups, man. He's the new Mr. Big Shot. Like, he's hit him time and time again. When that ball left his hand, I knew it was good. I knew it was good. And I think what's impressive is he wasn't really taking a lot of shots through this run that they had to come back. Even the last 12 to spurt at the end, he was kind of invisible. I mean, he was more of a distributor, and that's the beauty of his game. You saw Case and Wallace on that last possession. once he got inside the 3-point line, you could see it on Case and Wallace. He's like, oh man, I gotta like back up because he might drive. And now he pulled up, a 19-footer and hits that. Look, I don't want to hear anything more about Tyrese Haliburton's overrated, or people might not like his antics or how he dresses, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And listen, if you're a Knicks fan, you don't like him because of some of the trolling stuff. Yeah, I get all that. I get all that. And but like Reggie, if you're going to put him in that ilk, you got to respect him as a player too. Like he's a good player. And listen, I like it. I love that he's a villain in the league. I think it's great that he's hitting these shots. I think it's great for the league. But yeah, you can't to talk about whether he's overrated, whether you think he's a superstar or not. Whatever. He's a damn good player. He's hit big shots on the biggest stage. He did it on the biggest stage in the finals. And this was a guy who said he had a little bit of nerves at the start of this game, which is understandable. But those nerves sure weren't there when it counted. And I love that Rick Carlisle did not call a timeout there. I loved it because you have OKC on the ropes. SGA just missed a shot that he usually hits in his sleep. And yeah, you come right back down and have the ball in Halliburton's hand. I loved what Rick Carlisle did there. He had a great feel for the game down the stretch.
Yeah, in game 2, you go back to game 2 against the Knicks, where the Knicks lost, and Thibodeau didn't call the timeout, and Brunson took that three. Well, you look at the two differences in the shots. Haliburton got the shot he wanted on the quote-unquote mismatch, drawing Wallace and stepping into a mid-range, whereas, Brunson takes a heave from the top of the key, which is not his hot zone per se. He's a clutch player, but, I think that's the difference in terms of, there were a lot of Knicks fans who were angry that Tibbs didn't use the timeout. I'm okay with trying to catch the defense offset as long as you get the shot that you want. And in that regard, the Pacers got the shot that they want, and Haliburton was stone cold. 14, 10, and 6. And this was an interesting exchange last night with him and Scott Van Pelt on the ESPN ABC telecast. Here, a lot of people been sleeping on Haliburton. A lot of people have not been giving him his just due. Listen to this exchange last night between Scott Van Pelt and Tyrese Haliburton.
Make a place.
The other night on the show, I put my hand up and I said, look, I was late to the party on it.
Yeah, you're a real one for that.
Well,
I heard that. You're a real one for that.
Well,
a lot of your counterparts won't admit that now.
Well, now I'm going to give myself a little wiggle room here and say you guys are under 500 at Christmas. Am I right?
Yeah, we were rough.
Okay,
we were rough.
So were you bad at the start?
We were.
So all I said is I was a little late to the party, I put my hand up.
We were late to the party too.
Okay, well then I'm going to be. I'll be a real one right now. Every single note I had on this card getting ready for this show was about Oklahoma City winning this game, and I'm sitting here with you. It's an amazing show that you all are putting on, and the belief is amazing to watch as well. I appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much. Tyrese.
All right, that was an interesting exchange there between SVP and Haliburton. He says he's been late to the party. We all were. But one thing he said, which we've been watching throughout this entire playoffs, is their resiliency and their grit is crazy. And they're now 8-1 in the clutch. Miles Turner talked about the fact that they believe in themselves. They're a team of friends. You have Haliburton, who's the unequivocally the leader on the team. You got Siakam, who has that finals, who has the ring. He's got the experience. Carlisle as well. They're a well-oiled machine right now, man. They are a well-oiled machine, bro.
Yeah, you can listen. Winning. I would say number one breeds confidence, but I think winning in different situations matters too, right, CP? And this is why I would tell people, no matter what the sport is, that's what the regular season is for. It's about learning how to win in different situations, how to come together as a group. This team did it. You heard the reference there by SVP. They were 10-15 at Christmas, 5 games under 500. They've come together as a group. They're very confident. And you know what? I think they're very confident in late game situations. That's the thing, and I think they know the Thunder are a damn good team, but they're like, man, if we get this close and it's late and we have our guy and Haliburton and guys like Nembhard and Turner and Siakam, guys who came up with big plays, they feel confident. I think that's the thing. Where other people are uncomfortable, they're very comfortable. Yeah. They're like, look, we can thrive in these situations where it's a little bit hectic. And for OKC, this is the second time they've lost a series starter this playoffs. They had the one to Denver in game 1. They blew the lead there, so we've seen them come back, and I think they can. But this is a huge win to me for Indiana because
Big win.
when you have 25 turnovers and you didn't shoot the ball that well on the road, that's a massive win
Massive.
in the finals. Massive, man. Massive.
24-6 was the turnover battle. 24-6, bro.
You don't win generally when you never win when that happens. Never.
And after the game, Haliburton and Siakam, there was a little post-game soundbite there that SportsCenter had. He was like, let's get greedy, man. We didn't even play our best. And they did not.
Got to.
But a couple things. One thing that I would note that really helped them, they were still shooting efficiently. Even though they had empty possessions, number one, the threes, they hit 6 out of 10 in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And
it was highly efficient.
Overall, they maintained their shooting efficiency. So it seemed like every time, even when they would cough the ball up and maybe OKC would turn that into points, or most of the times not, as you pointed out, they would still come back and get you a good basket. And I thought they did a good job of that. They got to the free throw line 21 times, slowing down the clock and slowing the game down when they needed to. And as Haliburton said earlier in the game, they were sped up. But once they got their groove, that's when I was like, okay, a lot of turnovers, but they're only down by 12 going into the half. I'm like, all right, this is going to be interesting. Can OKC separate? Because if you give these guys a chance, as we saw here, they're going to come back and kill you.
And other thing is, what's killers, they won the rebounding battle, right? It's
Smoked
56 to 39. I was trying to remember 56-39. And they won the rebounding battle. That was huge for them. Now, you can argue, was that a lot because Hartenstein didn't start in this game? Chet did not have a good game in his 24 minutes, even though he was a +4, was 2 of 9 from the field. I'm not so sure. Again, I'm not sure about that because I understand what Mark Daigneault was thinking, putting Casey Wallace in the starting lineup. I see his thought process there, trying to be a little bit smaller, a little bit quicker. They had a lead. They still were 15 with 9 minutes to go. So, it was working to some degree. This is where sometimes I think we can overrate, a move. It just comes down to execution, and the Thunder lacked execution here, and the Pacers did. The Pacers, everything going against them with the 25 turnovers, but they still were able to execute down the stretch. And you're right, CP. Man, highly efficient. You're so right about that. Every three they took was huge, and they knocked them down. You shoot 60%. That's huge in a comeback. You don't turn the ball over as much. That's huge in a comeback. You hit your free throws. That's also huge in a comeback. You create the points when you force other team to turn over as they did and score for that. That's huge. They did all that. And I think, look, man, you got to be greedy. When you steal one on the road and you're not the favorite, as everybody still has OKC as the major favorites to win the series, you got to be greedy. Because I agree, they didn't shoot the ball badly. Right? They didn't shoot the ball badly. They just weren't efficient early on. They were efficient late. And I look at this too, if you're OKC, because I know how you felt about SGA's game. I know he had 38, but it was on 30 shots. Now, what I find interesting, CP, is he wasn't getting to the line the way he normally does.
Right.
Only 8 free throw attempts for him. That's low for SGA.
Yeah.
So, although I will say, I thought this was a very well officiated game. I actually liked the way the game was officiated. But he didn't get to line. OKC's got to get a little more from other people, other guys that are willing to shoot it in the clutch. I mean, I thought Caruso was one of those guys.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams did put up 19 shots, but I felt like
they needed a better game from him.
You needed a better game. 6 of 19, that's not ideal, right? 1 of 4 from downtown. That's not ideal what you want. They need a better game from him because it felt like SGA was doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And 14 of 30 is not terrible, right? But you're shooting 30 shots to get 38 points. Not as efficient as you'd like it to be.
Yeah. And boy, I just showed the highlight when his fellow countryman, Andrew Nembhard, who I'm a fan of. Don't tell the Knicks fan, but I've been an Andrew Nembhard fan for a little while. Don't tell him that. But, man, he put him in a chopper. Oh, my goodness. In that fourth quarter, Andrew Nembhard went crazy, bro. 8 points. 3 dimes. I thought he got gritty with SGA in terms of his defense. And that is a part of what makes this Pacer team so dangerous, is because of the fact that they have multiple Not just, like skilled ball handlers. They have multiple point guards. You have Haliburton. Nembhard and Turner's pick and roll is like the second most efficient in the playoffs. You got McConnell off the bench, but Nembhard in that fourth quarter was stone cold, and he helped carry that thing. Turner hit some big threes, and Nesmith was really good. But Nembhard, man, really, really did the damn thing as the lead ball handler in that fourth quarter.
I agree. I found that interesting too, CP, that they were running a lot of the offense through him as the lead ball handler, and he was tremendous. I think he's the unsung hero of this game. Like I said, Halliburton's going to get a lot of the credit for the final shot, but Nembhard was so good. That dribble step back three he had on SGA was cold blooded.
Filthy.
Yeah, I was in my living room like, ooh, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So I thought he was great. I think the other thing he's got to get credit for is his defense on SGA on that final shot. By the Thunder there. His defense was great. He was fantastic. He made SGA work, particularly in that fourth quarter. I thought he did a great job. Nembhard's a damn good player. He's a damn good, gritty player. And he's the kind of player that you see playing on this stage where I'm like, when fans, are looking at their teams or teams who are not playing here, they want to trade for a big name. And I'm like, yo, that doesn't always work, man. Sometimes you need more Andrew Nembhards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a little bit more of that. Those kind of guys that know their role, that are battle-tested, playoff-tested. I was impressed with that guy through last year's playoff run, is when I was like, oh, he's got some, he's got that fortitude.
He's got stones.
He's got some stones. You know what I'm saying? And you can see that. And you can see the team trust him in that. That's the other thing.
Right.
It's one thing, it's like coaching the trust, but the teammates trust him when they're like, hey, no, you know what, Hallie, you're going to play off the ball. We're going to give Nembhard the ball. And they trust him. That's huge. Yeah, he was great, CP. I think he should be saluted the most in terms of that comeback.
Big time, big time. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. The NBA report in the building. CP the franchise. Dexter, Henry on the ones and twos. If you guys want to call in with your thoughts on last night's game one, Pacers victory, call us up on the NBA report Discord. I see STG Nick. We're going to get to him in just a second. On the bigs and the criticism of Daniel in terms of going with Case and Wallace. Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying in terms of it may not have impacted things because they still had a 15-point lead in the fourth going into the fourth, but they did get out rebounded in the fourth 15-6. And I'm a guy who I'd rather go to my strengths, and they got smoked on the boards.
You rather go to your strengths and play to what somebody else
early.
Does. Yeah, I get that point.
And remember in the preview show, I want J-Dub on Siakam out the gates.
Yeah.
Out the gates. You're wasting his defensive prowess and his wingspan and his physicality by not putting him on the Pacers' best player. Now, Siakam could have had a better game, but against J-Dub, when he was the primary defender, he went 0 for 3. Caruso also did a pretty good job. But Case and Wallace, he had some success there. I just rather go with the two bigs. You allowed a Pacer team that was playing frantically in the fourth to come back, getting those second chance opportunities. To me, I need IHart out there to limit them on the boards. They had 5 offensive rebounds in that fourth quarter, 15 overall, and OKC had 0 in that fourth quarter.
To your point, CP, so I'm clear on that, it's not. I don't criticize Daigneault for starting. I criticize him for more the lineups he might have used to close, right? Like to that point, I think you make a good point of that, right? Like for me, if you wanted to go with that early on, that's fine. I think late going with Chet as the sole big, as he did down the stretch late in that game, that didn't look good because I think, and I rewatched a little bit of it, and I was like, Chet was getting a little out-muscled by Turner and Siakam. Because I was this morning I wanted to relook at it, and I was like, how did he look? And he was like, yeah, he was really getting out-muscled there. I think you need a little more size with Hartenstein, who, again, I just want to bring this up. He was a +2. I said +4 earlier. Yeah. He was a +2. But he gave you 9 boards. He gave you 2 offensive. He had 9 points. He almost had a double-double. So Hartenstein was highly effective in his 17 minutes that he played. I might have used him more down the stretch. Even if you were going to go with him as the sole big, I would have used him down the stretch to he gives a little bit more muscle against a Miles Turner. I think that's something that they're going to have to look at. Maybe they want to stick with the same starting lineup, but how do you close, especially if it's tight?
Yeah.
To your point, when it's tight, You want to impose what you do well on the other team. I'm a believer in that too. And maybe it seems like I can see the point where people are like, Daigneault conceded too much too early. I don't even think it's about early. It's more late than anything.
Right.
That he conceded. He was like, we got to match their pace. And it's like, no, you also have to match a little bit of the physicality, because I think that the Pacers sometimes don't get looked at as a physical team. But like Turner and Siakam, they were giving Chet, who's, not the biggest of dudes. He's more tall man than big man. They were giving him a little bit of problems. So I think how they close, that's going to be the thing for me to watch with Daigneault.
Yeah, it's true indeed, man. Pacer bench also edged out the OKC bench, 39 points for the Pacer bench. Obi Toppin leading the way there with 17 points, 5 of 8 from downtown. He settled into this game after 3 early turnovers, so give credit there. Also thought they got some timely buckets from McConnell, and then you have Mathurin and Thomas Bryant with 5 points apiece. So, Pacer bench getting the edge here early. And this Pacer team going into game 2 is going to have some confidence. Let's go to the phones real quick. Let's go to STG Nick. STG, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good game last night. I was thinking, too, that was probably the best NBA Finals game since Game 6 of the 2021 Finals between the Bucks and the Suns and the Antetokounmpo alley-oop.
A lot of people going into this, like we talked about this on the preview decks, small markets. The Knicks fan was watching this in trauma last night with everything. I went into this with an open mind. I thought this was going to be a very intriguing matchup, especially with the Pacers' grit, and we got a great game 1.
Yeah, I was thinking about what SCG just said there. I think you're right, man. I think that is the best game we've probably seen since that game. I mean, it was a great, fantastic game. There were some good ones in the Boston Warriors series. What was that, 22?
Yeah.
But it's a great game. Listen, I said it the other day when I came on, if you were closed-minded about this, you didn't think this was a good series, then shame on you. Shame on you, because you're looking at market size. Good basketball is good basketball. I was confident this would be good basketball. We got ourselves an amazing basketball game.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And another thing, too, is OKC never really put them away. It was always a 10 to 12-point game throughout the course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then really Indiana came storming back in the final minutes. And I thought a big part of it was former Nick Obi Toppin. I mean, 5 of 8 from 3, but I think he hit 2 to 3 in the fourth quarter, and they were timely as well. So they definitely capitalized on that, because Siakam didn't have his best game, but he was also like that in the Knicks series where he showed up big in game 2. So I'm sure he'll make adjustments. And then also, I just have one question.
Obi was 2 for 2, 6 points in the fourth, 2 rebounds and assists. He was great.
Mm-hmm. And then also just a quick question: if OKC if we're just going by the logic that the Knicks front office went by, if the Thunder lose this series, do they have to fire their coach Mark Daigneault now? Because that's just by the logic the Knicks went by, because they blew that first game. I'm just saying. I don't think it'll happen, but still, I'm not happy about that fire.
I wouldn't. A lot of people are watching with the Tibbs view and the Tibbs lens. I don't think the Tibbs firing came down to just this postseason. I don't think so either. I don't think it was just about this postseason.
But to that point, I will say to SGG, for the fans that wanted to fire Tibbs after game 1 and thought the loss was on Tibbs, it's ridiculous. Just like this loss is not on Daigneault, right? Players have to execute. They have agency. They can go out there. They didn't. Is there some things CP and I just talked about what we thought Daigneault could have done better down the stretch in terms of lineup? Sure. But players still got to go execute, and they didn't. And it's never on a coach. And I agree with CP. With Tibbs, I think it was more cumulative over as the front office, at least from what I've heard, office looking at it throughout the last couple of years.
One thing, though, and as SDG mentioned, the 2 OB3s, one thing the OKC has to adjust, they better get out to the corners and guard these Pacers, man. They are red hot Pacers' efficiency is crazy overall in the playoffs, but from the corner 3, they are excellent right now in the playoffs, and OKC did a lousy job in closing out on those 3-point shooters. With OKC's defense, they're very aggressive. They overhelp. They're very aggressive there, but you got to get out to those corners, because Pacers have a ton of guys who can kill you from the corners, and they killed OKC last night from the corner 3. So they better close out quickly, or game 2 could get very interesting, because now the nerves are gone. The opening nerves are gone. You gave Haliburton and these boys some life. Siakam could have a better game. OKC's going to have to raise it up a notch. Their defensive intensity, better game from J-Dub, and overall SGA a better game, and somebody from the bench has to step up as well. But we have a series here, Dex. We got a
No,
series.
we got ourselves a series, and you look, OKC, they do not want to go down 0-2 because that would not be good. It would not be ideal. Look, it's tough for them now. They know they have to win 4 out of 6. They can do it. I think OKC is really talented. I think they will make good adjustments, and I think you'll see a huge response. I think to me it's just about they got to clean up stuff on the glass, which they generally are better at. So I don't think they'll rebound as poorly again, and I think you might see more time of the double big lineup on the floor next game. Look, they just got to bounce back. I expect OKC to come out with a lot of energy on Sunday. Game 2 Sunday, right? Game 2
Sunday.
They'll come out with a lot of energy then, and I think they'll be ready. But this was a huge one for the Pacers to steal one. And if you thought this was going to be a boring series, it was not. It shall not be.
It shall not be, man. Well, great show, man. Great job as usual. What do you got on deck? Any content coming up on deck?
Yeah, we on New York Got Game this weekend. We will be looking through some of the Knicks coaching candidates. Going through that. We'll be looking at that. Also talking a little bit of Liberty. They're off to an 8-0 start in the W, historic start, best start ever in franchise history. So Knicks talk, it never ends. CP, I don't know where you were the other day. I texted you because after we got on, and then the news broke about Tibbs, and I was like, man, like
never ends, bro.
It just never stops, bro. Never stops.
Never stops, man. Well, great job, man. We'll definitely catch up after game 2 and see where this series is, man. Great job. Have a great weekend, bro.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So to everybody in the chat once again on the NBA report, man. Hey, make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. I see a lot of you guys are KFTV guys in the chat. So shout out to, My Two Cents, Hot Dorito, Christopher Blake is in here, Juan B's here. A lot of our regulars, Jay Rose, Randy Johnson, STG. Shout out to Gambler Bard. So yeah, man, make sure you guys are sharing this. Armand Dutta, salute to you. Make sure you guys are sharing this as, the NBA report continues in these NBA finals. OTDA says, if the Pacers win the championship, will it make the Knicks losing to them an easier pill to swallow for you, CP? No. I will never root for the Pacers. I will never support the Pacers. And if they win, I'll be even more tight that the Knicks blew game 1, still had a chance to win this series. Hey, you take it to 7 in your building, you just never know how that might turn out. And like I said, nothing is guaranteed. Everybody want to say, well, even if we got to OKC, we would have been watched anyway. You don't know that. You don't know that. But hey, give credit to the Pacers. They closed. They executed. They're a good team. They're a very good team. I still think the Knicks left a lot out there, from their decision-making to the lack of defense. All of it. It's on the tape. So, no, it will not be an easy pill to swallow, watching Haliburton and Reggie Miller hoist up the trophy in downtown, Naptown, whatever they want to call it. No, it will not be easy. It's the Pacers at the end of the day. JT Riddick's. Absolutely. It's the Pacers, man. But anyway, yeah, like I said, man, last night, a lot of the commentary was Tibbs, Obie, all of this. I want to put all of that to the Haliburton. We should have drafted Haliburton. Why we get rid of Obie? Why we get rid of Tibbs? I just want to watch the game. That's it. To each his own. To each his own. I'm not going to tell you how to watch the game or what opinions you should have. But me personally, I kind of sidestepped all the acts. Should we have done this? Why do we get rid of Obie? Listen, and then the Tibbs stuff, the second guessing the Tibbs stuff. I just want to watch the game, enjoy the series. The Knicks offseason has overtaken this. And I just want to watch the game. Because when the Knicks make the coaching hire, we'll talk about the coach. We'll get in the summer league. We'll get in the preseason. We'll get in the training camp. And we will kick this thing off all over again. And take it from there. How do I feel? How does Leon feel seeing Obie contributing? I'm sure he feels good. Look, man, the Obie and Knicks divorce was a two-way street. Obie wanted to go somewhere to have a chance and maybe start or get a better opportunity. There's dollars and cents. Money's on the line. And from the Knicks' perspective, they didn't have the coach, the role, the system for him to thrive in. So both sides went to move on. He went to a team that accentuated his strengths through the coach, the point guard, and their style of play. He's still coming off the bench, but as he said in his pregame press conference, he's in a system now where they play more freely. And he took a dig at Brunson and Tibbs and the Knicks. Did you hear that in the pregame press conference? He said, I'm just thankful I'm not in a system where you're standing in the corner the whole time watching one guy dribble. So Obie's got Knicks trauma on his mind. He can't, every chance he gets, he's sticking it to the Knicks. So good for him. Yeah, Armando, it wasn't going to work out with Randall here. We know that. We know that. So, hey, good for him. We'll see what happens. Series isn't over, man. It's one game. OKC will make their adjustments, but great job by the Pacers. Absolutely great job by the Pacers. Yeah, at my 2 cents. That was absolutely a shot at the Knicks. But hey, something to think about. We're looking for more offensive diversity and creativity with the New York Knicks. And let's see if that next coach can do that here. Yeah, Alex Dune, give out Tyrese's props. Absolutely, man. One of the most iconic postseason runs ever, no question. He's playing very clutch basketball right now. Very clutch. Obie not getting enough credit for the win. Credit is relative. He had 17 points off the bench. He was great. He started off the game slow and then heated up from downtown. Will he do it again in game 2? We'll see. I thought Nembhard was my unsung hero of the night, though. It was really Nembhard. Nembhard for me, because he's got to guard SGA on the other side and stop that last shot. Hope the Knicks get Udoka. I doubt it. Maybe the kid stuff has a lot of legs, so we'll see. We'll be back at 4 o'clock on Knicks Fan TV. My guy Jonathan Macri, Knicks Film School, will join me. We'll talk more coaching, and we'll take some more of your calls, man. So make sure you guys are tapping in. Shout out to everybody watching on the NBA Report, and we'll see you guys later on KFTV.